Right, good afternoon everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is the next in our instalment of Quick Bites, our short Just Too Easy webinars. We are looking at J2 homework today. So my name is Nikki Kimball. I'm one of the educational consultants here at Just Too Easy. So we're going to have a nice short 15-minute session all about J2 homework, and we have got a new interface. So I'm going to showcase some of the updates that we've had recently. We're going to have a look at how to create, set and mark homework assignments. We're also going to have a look at setting homework from the resource library, which is a new function. And in all of this, you're going to be able to see what the pupils see and how they can access their homework as well. I will be running a Q&A session at the end. So if there is anything that I haven't covered about J2 homework that you want to know, please just save that for the Q&A session and I will have a look at the chat at the end. So you can pop it in the chat if you want to. Right, without further ado, we will make a start. So J2 homework can be found from your Launchpad. It is this lovely little button down here. It's got a nice new logo and you can click on that and that will open up homework, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to open up my homework and this is the new and improved interface. So you can see here, I've got no homework set at the moment, which we are going to create some homework in a second. I'm just going to show you this school homework button. So what's nice about this is you can see what other teachers are setting as well. So I can see here, Mrs. White, she's already set a piece of homework. I can see what the students are doing. And I can also, if I press the edit button, I can see who she has set that for. So it gives you a good idea of what else is going on around school. Now, your interface will remove homework as it expires. If there is a homework that you've set previously that you wish to reinstate, you can click on the show expired. And there we go, we can see all the homeworks. So this is nice maybe as you start to use homework more and more. Maybe there's a homework you set this time last year. You can reinstate that really quickly and easily just by clicking on the piece of homework. You can press the edit button and then you can just restart that start date and we can change that for today. So that will reinstate that for whenever you want to set it. Right, setting a piece of homework, all we're going to do is we're going to press this create homework button. Now I've already created some homework. I've got my students, I want them to create a pictogram about devices at home. So they're going to create a pictogram. So I'm going to say, can you tally up the devices you have in your house? Use the pictogram to show the data. And of course, it would help if I could type properly. The other thing you can do is you can add audio instructions. So this is a nice function that we feature throughout the site. And it's really good maybe if you've got your EAL pupils, your SEND pupils, or even if you're creating homework for some of your younger students, you can create audio instructions. So I'm going to record. Can you tally up the devices you have around the home and then put that data into this pictogram? Make sure you save your work so I can mark it. And there we go. You can re-record that. If you go wrong, you can listen to it first. I'm just going to click the tick button and that will add that to that homework now. Now what we need to do is we need to add our file. So I can click this add button here. That's going to take me directly to my file. So this is where we've updated this massively. You don't have to do the whole going into my files and sharing it. It all works straight through J2 homework. So it's so much easier to use. There's my pictogram that I created previously. I'm going to tick that. Now you've also got the option to add a URL. So that's really useful maybe if you had a video about pictograms or you wanted them to read something first and then complete something in a file. So you can add external URLs. So that could be YouTube or Wikipedia or I don't know, DK Find Out or any website that you want your students to use. We're going to add the class or the pupils that we wish this homework to be completed by. So by default, it opens within users. I'm going to click classes because I want to set it for my whole class. You could also share with a teaching class if you have your smaller group set up. But I'm going to set that for my registration class, class 1. I can highlight that. You can highlight multiple classes. You could highlight a class and then individual users as well if you wanted to. Once I've selected all of the people that I want to share this with, I'm going to click OK, and that has added that in. If you add a class by mistake, you can just delete that permission just by ticking on that X. We're going to set a start date. So by default, it will start immediately, but you can set that for a future date. So if you were anything like me and I used to do my planning on a Sunday, I might not want my homework to start till, say, the Wednesday. So you can preset it. That means it won't show until the time and date that you set it to appear. Your due date by default is a week. Again, you can alter that. So it could be that just showcases for a couple of days, however you want to coordinate your homework. And then when all of that data is inputted, we're going to create homework, and that has added that in there. So now to give you a pupil view on how the pupils will complete their homework. This is my pupil. She's Lottie. She's in my class 1. I'm just going to refresh that page, and I'm going to open up her homework. And there you go. You can see that piece of homework that we have set. So she learns that she just clicks on that piece of homework. She's got the description here. She can listen to those instructions. Can you tally up the devices you have around the home and then put that data into this pictogram? Make sure you save your work so I can mark it. There we go. She's got the file here and she can open that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get her to put some of this data in. There we go. And then she's going to save her work. So that's going to save a copy into her My Files. Now, this is the important part. She then needs to go back to her homework and tick this box that says Mark Completed. Now, as soon as she hits that box, it will come out of that homework and it will remove the homework from that list. Now, if your students hit that box by mistake, all they need to do is just tick this Show Completed, and that will bring those back up. So you can see she could then go back into that. She can mark incomplete if she did that by mistake. So from a teacher perspective, if I just refresh that page, you'll see as I refresh, I've now got this quick glance window. I can see one has completed it. I can open that up. And if I scroll down to the bottom, I've now got this list. I've got completed and incomplete. So I can see I've set this for 14 students and one has completed it. So I still have an incomplete list. So I know which students I need to nag about doing their homework at a very quick glance. I can tick the completed tab. And if I click on view here on the right hand side, that's going to take me directly to Lottie's pupil file. And there's that homework at the top. I can see when she completed it, what time. I can also click on that little window and that's going to show me the piece of homework so I can see she's done that perfectly. Well done, Lottie. I can exit out of there and I can also offer up a learning conversation. So, you know, you can offer that feedback about their homework, maybe 2 stars on Wish, or you know, engagement, conversation, a bit more discussion about that homework if you wanted to push them a little bit further. So that is the general process of setting homework. Now, the other thing, I'm just going to close some of these windows so I don't get it mixed up. The other thing we can do, if you're not aware, is we have our new resource library, which is here. And we can set pieces of homework directly from the resource library. So if I open up the resource library, if you haven't seen it, please have a look. There's loads and loads of pieces of work. You can search for certain subject areas, maybe writing documents or maths documents. Now I've selected this one already, this newspaper template. I would like my students to complete this. So all I need to do is click where it says homework, and that will use all of that content from that library entry. It will preload it for you so you can see it's got all the instructions here. It will also, instead of adding the file, it will give them a link to that particular library resource, which is here. Then all I need to do is just set that for my students. If I go back to class 1 and click OK, I can change my start date and due date as I did, and then I can create homework. So this one works only ever so slightly differently in that it doesn't give me a file to open, it just gives me a link. So again, just to showcase that pupil view, so if I go back to Lottie, and if she opens up her homework again, I haven't refreshed my page. There we go. She's got that newspaper template now, which is brilliant. She can click on that. And you can see here, instead of having that file little window, she's got this URL, and it works in exactly the same way. So she follows the link. She can see the instructions. Now, the library works slightly differently in that the pupils will only see the instructions and the teachers will be able to see the teacher notes, as we saw in the previous window. But she can still open that particular document. It does all the sharing for you. And because this is a j2e5 file, my student can add in a title. Ooh, there we go. She can resize the same as we can do with, right, there we go, syncs. And when she's completed all of that in that file, again, she just saves that, and that will save a copy into her My Files. So it works in exactly the same way as it would be if it was a file from your particular My Files, and then she marks as complete. So then we can go back, refresh my page, and again, that works in exactly the same way. Lottie has completed it. We can view that. There's that j2e5 file. You can mark it, we can have a look at it, we can offer any feedback. So that is a whistle-stop tour of J2 homework. Now this webinar has been recorded and it will be made available via the Quick Bites recordings page, which can be found on our website, which is j2hoeasy.com/news. And you can find that, there is a link directly off your Launchpad, which is here. So we go to j2hoeasy, at the top, go to news, and there are all our quick bites. So there are a huge range of these to have a look at. So all of them, we've got J2 homework. So this is the update. So this will be replaced now, thankfully, because that one's out of date. We've got J2 message, collaborative databases. So please have a look at those. And we've also got the option to book on the next webinars that we've got available. Right, have we got any questions? Feel free to unmute or to drop them in the chat. I'll wait a couple of seconds and see if anybody's got any questions.
Nikki?
Yes.
There was a couple of screens back, there was a little box that said reviewed when you looked at the work that had been submitted.
Yes, very well pointed out. Thank you, Paul. Yes. There is one vital bit of information that I forgot to tell you. You can tick this box that says reviewed. So that is really useful. Maybe when you've got 30 pieces of work coming in, you can check that box when you've marked a piece of homework so that you know which ones that you have marked already. Really useful because they will be coming in at different times. So yeah, you can do that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? No, right, well, I make that. Oh, I have got a chat. You're very welcome, Martina. Thank you for attending. We will be running the next session. I think off the top of my head, it's around the 2nd of December, maybe the 6th. It's the first Tuesday in December. So I think we're doing databases next time. So feel free to join us for that one. Thank you for attending and good night.